What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to O'Leary's Garden, where life is a garden. Today I got some ribs smoking over there for a video that's going to come out tomorrow. And I had a little extra time while I'm waiting for them to smoke. That's the best part about smoking ribs, is sitting back and watching them while you got a beer in your hand. So I figured we would do another book review. Restoration Agriculture by Mark Shepard. This is a hell of a book, folks. So cleverly, this book is named Restoration Agriculture, but we all know what it's really about, right? Permaculture. So the book starts out by defining several different types of natural landscapes, and then defining the savanna as the most productive because of all of the different layers, because it's where the forest meets the field. And then it continues to kind of point us in the direction of designing our agricultural systems based off a savanna type landscape. There is a stupid amount of information in this book. Like, did you know that hazelnuts produce more BTUs than wood when they're burned? Hazelnut shells. And do you know how to directly convert wood, inedible wood, into an edible? Your prunings, anything that falls off your sacrificial trees, any rotting big lumps of wood, how do you turn that into an edible? Mushrooms. He's lays out a way to transition from modern agriculture into agroforestry. Talks about multi-species grazing practices, the tale of the American chestnut, cattails as an alternative to corn for ethanol production, which brings us to, there's like 2 chapters in this book that should have been renamed, because this guy hates corn. And those 2 chapters, I can't remember what they called, but a couple of other options for naming would have been fuck corn, corn can go fuck itself. That was a good runner-up. Fuck off corn, corn suck a dick. You get the point. In those chapters, he's addressing the question that's often asked to restoration agriculturists or permaculturists, that can your systems feed the world? And then he retorts that question with, can modern ag feed the world? And then he breaks down the distribution of field of corn's caloric output, where that actually goes. Because almost half of it, like 40+%, goes to feeding livestock. Now that could arguably be feeding people, but it's indirectly, and it's at a pretty shitty ratio, actually. It takes like 2 pounds of corn to make 1 pound of meat. I don't remember the numbers exactly. You should read the book. But the other half, almost half, another 40+%, goes to producing ethanol. So only half of the stuff you're doing is feeding people, and not doing a very good job of it, because there's really not much caloric or nutritional density in corn anyway. And then the remaining goes to corn syrup and corn chips and stuff like that, which also is pretty shitty for you. So you're feeding people, but you're feeding them shit. He's got a chapter or 2 on bees. There was some stuff in there, like honeybees were actually imported from Europe. I didn't know that. They're not something that naturally exists in North America. Most of the populations of bee-type creatures that we have here are actually solitary animals, not colony animals. So that was a cool thing. One of the quotes I liked from the book was that there's 3 types of lies. You've got lies, damn lies, and statistics. I just thought that was great. Especially, it's very relevant now with all this COVID stuff, because when you look into the statistics and the way that studies are done, they're usually design the studies around a certain end game. Like there's a certain point that they want to make, and they design the study to get the outcome that they want, to make their point and further their agenda to control you. On to the excerpts. So in the beginning of the book, he kind of talks about his childhood and his upbringing and kind of the things going on in his head that led him to where he is today. And he's got this excerpt. This isn't, I mean, it's in this book, but it's not technically from this book. This is an excerpt in the book from another book. Know what I'm saying? This is he's quoting Henry David Thoreau in Walden. And he wrote, Thoreau wrote, "I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not when I came to die discovered that I had not lived. I did not wish to live what was not life. Living is so dear, nor did I wish to practice resignation, unless it was quite necessary. I wanted to live deep and suck out all of the marrow of life, to live so sturdily and Spartan-like as to put to rout all that was not life, and cut a broad swath and shave close, to drive life into a corner and reduce it to its lowest terms, and if proved to be mean, why then to get the whole and genuine meanness of it, and publish its meanness to the world. Or if it were sublime, to know it by experience, and be able to give a true account of it in my next excursion." There's also this picture of New Forest Farm in Wisconsin, Mark Shepard's farm. I just think it's so beautiful. Isn't that a beautiful reinvention of agriculture today? Can you imagine those all over the place? Our second and final excerpt from this book is from the chapter, The Perennial Agriculture Vision. And here, this is still early in the book, he says, "Humankind has reached a phase in development where we must have the courage to uncover our blind beliefs and make the efforts to fundamentally change the face of agriculture. By fundamentally changing the face of agriculture, we change the food system. By changing our food systems, we change the health and well-being of the populace. And as I will point out in this book, by changing the face of agriculture, we can change the ecological health of the entire planet. The progress, quote unquote, that we have made as a nation has been built on a food system that has denuded continents for millennia. With the discovery of liquid crude oil, the invention of the internal combustion engine to power farm machinery, and with the development of fossil fuel-derived synthetic fertilizers, the ecological destruction has shifted into overdrive." This book is an incredible read, folks. And just like the last one and every one I do recommend to you, I highly recommend that you read it. It will do a lot for you. You can find the link for this book right down there in the thing. As always, if you like the work we're doing here, please help support us by doing your Amazon shopping at o'learylink.com. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.